Alright, liquidating Texas Part 2 for freedom. I'm going to go over some of the similar things. The population, remember, is around 26.5 million people. In principle, each person owns 125,674,681 of the state's assets. Should that be 125,674,681 of the state's asset? So for every that number of people, dollars gained from selling state assets, a Texan will get $1 minus overhead. This is assuming that they secede so they can make the libertopia I've been told about. I ignore the overhead, that's the Texans' problem. Selling the state parks figured out $68 per person. But that's per person in your family, right? So if you have a family of 10, then you get $680 for the state parks. Okay, you have to buy the federal assets. I need to work on this slide because I have another one. Texans need to invent their own currency. We'll do the sovereignty exchange in dollars, though. Or maybe gold. So the special assets, roads, waterworks, schools, state buildings, I'm going to add to this list. I figured I'd go through and look at each of these before I worry too much about adding them. But I did make that yellow, that utilities needed deregulation plan. See, there's a Texas dam there. Okay, the special liabilities is to repeat mostly federal assets, post offices, federal highways, military. These have to be bought from the United States. The public school, this is what I looked up. There's 8,000 of them. There's 4 million students. I'm trying to figure out, well, let's say the schools are worth $500,000 to $2 million per 1,000 students. Then that's $4 to $8 billion from those buildings. So that's a difficult thing. I don't know. But I just am making an estimate. You know, if it's half-assed, you guys, I will correct this. So that adds $311 per person that you lose your schools. Well, no, probably these will be, a lot of them will be run at schools, except for maybe in those majority of Hispanic student schools. I don't know. So compensating Texans right now, we have a total of $379 per Texan per family member. So they're going to be lucky. That is what they get for selling the public school building facilities and their parks. So we have hardly even begun. It looks like the Texans might be in for a couple $1,000s for being bought out of their government. Of course, I didn't add in the costs. I mean, we don't actually, I mean, you could not, we could, if you guys are okay with foreign ownership of your land, then it's possible you don't have to buy back the federal facilities. You know, we'll just own the interstate highways and run them as toll roads or something. I guess we could do that. Whatever's easiest for you if you need a helping hand getting on your feet. So coming up, I want to look at those interstate highways, 3,233.4 miles, U.S. owned. State roads, couldn't get the number yet. Postal offices, those are U.S. owned. Texas waterworks, what's the impact of letting somebody buy that? Can you? What about the lake land? Is there an issue there? If you guys want to bring this up, fine. If not, then evidently I'm competent to do it alone. So electricity, I don't even know, does Texas own any electricity utilities, or are they already independent, could just easily be spun off? You know, some of these have specific deals between the county and the state and the federal government that we just have to look at the document that established them 75 or 175 years ago and go, oh, okay, well, here's the deal we said, you know, here's who really owns it, etc. Also, is there a special thing that you libertopians want to do with land that might have been taken by eminent domain? Do you need to revert that? If the state owns it, or if the federal owns it, you want to buy it back and give it back? I don't know how that's going to work, and I'm hoping some libertopians help me out with this joint project. Cheers.